December 1944. Bastogne, Belgium. The men of the American 101st Airborne were surrounded, without resupply, with temperatures below 20 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Insufficient sleeping bags, no tents, but they survived. The technique they used costs $0, takes 4 minutes to assemble, and no salesperson from REI, Bass Pro Shops, or Cabela's will explain it to you. Because if you know, you'll stop spending $400 on equipment that does half of what nature already offers for free. If this is your first time here, subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss any secrets the industry tries to hide. Look what happened in the Appalachian Mountains on the border between Tennessee and North Carolina in the winter of 2019. Two groups set out on the same trail. February night, 18 degrees Fahrenheit, cutting wind. The first group brought $350 sleeping bags, a well-known brand bought directly from REI in Asheville. The second group used only what they found in the forest, plus a technique taught by a Vietnam veteran who lived nearby. The next morning, the group with store-bought equipment woke up numb. 3 of them had white toes from the cold, shivering. The second group slept better. They woke up rested and warm. The veteran who taught the technique was 74 years old at the time. He learned it from his father, who served in Europe during World War II. He always repeated the same phrase: "The enemy is not the cold air, it's the ground." It seems simple, but that phrase carries a wisdom that changed the outcome of entire battles. And this is no isolated case. In Glacier National Park, Montana, wilderness survival guides have been teaching variations of this technique for decades. In the Adirondacks, New York, bushcraft groups revived it after 2 hikers suffered moderate hypothermia even inside $600 tents. On the Olympic Peninsula, in Washington state, where humidity and cold combine in a way that betrays even the most experienced, it has become standard among winter guides. The technique has roots in Finnish soldiers from the 1940 Winter War, was refined by American Rangers during the Ardennes, and then disappeared from the manuals. It's not on the Fort Drum curriculum, it doesn't appear in official Army videos, and there's no sign in the Cabela's window. It only exists in the memory of the old and in the mouths of those who truly know. So what's the secret? The ground steals heat from the body 25 times faster than the air. 25 times. While you're busy putting on 3 layers of clothing, the icy ground underneath is sucking up all your thermal energy like a vacuum cleaner. The soldiers of the 101st who survived the Bastogne winter understood this firsthand. They called it dead man's cold, the cold that kills slowly, from below, while you think you're warm. The science has a name: direct contact thermal conduction. Soil has a thermal conductivity between 0.5 and 2.0 Wm/Am/Ek depending on humidity. Still air has only 0.025 Wm/Ek. It's like comparing solid ice to a sponge. Both are cold, but one steals heat at a completely different rate than the other. Veterans who went through training at Fort Wainwright, Alaska, and the Joint Warfare Training Center in Anchorage know that the unofficial survival protocol always began with insulating the ground, not with warm clothing. A retired sergeant from the 10th Mountain Division, Fort Drum, New York, described it this way: "Sleeping on the ground without insulation is like spending the night with your feet in a basin of ice water. It's not with, you're going to get hypothermia. It's when then you look at the soldier next to you, who survived on branches and leaves, and you understand why the Army stopped teaching this. Because it works too cheaply for any brand to sponsor. Now for the tutorial. What you need, where to find it, and how to assemble it. Materials: pine or fir branches, 3 to 4 heaping handfuls, stacked about 40 centimeters high. Dried leaves, 2 large armfuls, cattail, the fibrous core of 5 to 8 stems, if found in a humid area such as a lake or swamp shore. Cardboard or thick paper. Optional, but very helpful as a base barrier. Poncho or tarp. Serves as a final waterproof layer. Total cost, $0 if you're in nature. If you want to bring it already prepared from home, an emergency Mylar sheet costs $1.99 at Walmart or Amazon. Step 1. Choose the terrain. Away from open and windy areas. Ideally, near conifers. Never in depressions where cold air accumulates at night. Slightly sloping terrain drains moisture and keeps the base drier. Step 2. Assemble the base with the pine branches, twigs facing upwards like a natural grid. Create at least 15 centimeters of height, about 6 inches. This is the most critical layer of all. It's what breaks the contact with the ground. Step 3. Add the dried leaves on top of the branches, forming a cushion. Gently compress with your hand. The goal is to create air pockets trapped between the materials. It is the still air that insulates, not the quantity of material itself. Step 4. Place your tarp or poncho over everything before lying down. This creates a vapor barrier, preventing moisture from the ground from migrating to your clothes overnight. This detail is what most people forget, and it's what kills them. Soldiers in the Italian Alps who skipped this step woke up soaked, even though it hadn't rained a drop. The secret that makes all the difference. Before going to bed, do 20 to 30 squats. This activates peripheral circulation and raises your core body temperature for 15 to 20 minutes. Enough time for your natural bed to start retaining real heat. Finnish soldiers called it warming the bed with one's own body before entering it. It still works today. Storage. If you prepared cattail or dried leaves at home, store them in a sealed paper bag away from moisture. They will last for weeks without losing their insulating effectiveness. If you want to boost it, you can add emergency Mylar, 1:1:19920, Place it under the base of branches as a first layer. The perceived temperature difference can reach 15 degrees Fahrenheit. It rejects radiated heat back to your body instead of letting the ground absorb it. Cattail fluff. The fibrous white fluff has insulating properties comparable to synthetic wool. Indigenous peoples of the Great Plains used it centuries before any synthetic gear existed. Why don't any camping stores teach this? REI grossed over $4 billion in 2023. Cabela's operates over 80 stores in the United States. The American outdoor and camping market is worth $25 billion a year. A quality sleeping bag costs between $200 and $600. A high-density foam sleeping pad, $80. A titanium tarp, $150. If the solution costs $1.99, and the rest is available in any forest from the Appalachians to the Cascades, from Colorado to Maine, this billion-dollar market has no incentive to teach you this. How to use: assemble the bed before it gets completely dark, with enough light to carefully choose the materials. At 20-30 degrees Fahrenheit, and with wind, you have between 90 minutes and 2 hours after you stop moving before hypothermia starts to set in. Assemble first, rest later. Situations where it works best. Improvised camping. Waiting for rescue in forested terrain. Intentional winter survival training. The most common mistake: base too thin. If you feel the hard ground underneath the material, the base is not ready. Fold it. Think about your next outing. Maybe the Smokies in Tennessee. Maybe Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. Maybe a week in the Adirondacks in the fall. While the rest of the group spends $480 on a North Face sleeping bag, plus a sleeping pad, you gather 4 handfuls of spruce branches, pile on dry leaves, and add a 1.99 sheet of Mylar. In less than 5 minutes, you have a sleeping base that kept the men of the 101st Airborne alive during the most brutal winter of World War II. 2. Your friends will ask what you're doing. You decide whether to tell them or let them continue paying $480 to feel the cold. This knowledge doesn't belong to any company. It doesn't belong to any outdoor brand. It belongs to the land, to the old veterans, to the soldiers who learned the hard way in the forests of Belgium and the European Alps. The industry didn't destroy this knowledge. It just stopped repeating it because there's no profit margin on it. You know it now. Use it. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next video.